Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority. It is now 4:01. Let us call this meeting to order. Let's all stand together and pledge allegiance to our flag. Ready? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. At this time, can we call the roll, please?
Commissioner Borges?
I'm here.
Commissioner Wright?
Here.
Commissioner Starkey?
Here.
Commissioner Naffa? Here. Chair Greeno?
I am here. Thank you. At this time, we're going to move on to our public comment period. Any member of the public may address the Solid Waste Management Authority on any matter on or off the agenda. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to make their comments. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, seeing no public comment, we will move on to our consent agenda. We have several items on here. We have the approve the minutes for the Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 meeting. Approve the claim to the California Product Stewardship Council for services described in invoice 39023 in the amount of $5,308.94. And we have approved the budget transfer in the amount of $60,000. Do we have any item on our consent calendar that anyone would like to pull? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion at this time.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Borges?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner Starkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Naffa?
Yes.
Chair Greeno?
Yes, thank you. All right, we will move on to our director's report at this time.
Thank you, sir. The Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority continues to operate the Klamath, Gasky, and Del Norte County transfer stations and to provide required monitoring, accounting, and related reports to overseeing agencies. Authority staff provide these services without any financial support from the City of Crescent City or the County of Del Norte and without receiving a penny of taxes. The per-ton rates charged at authority-managed facilities continue to be lower than charges for equivalent services in facilities in Humboldt and Curry counties. Regarding community events, through the end of January at the Del Norte County Transfer Station, we will be receiving holiday trees for no charge. So if you've got a holiday tree that needs disposal, no flocking or ornaments or metal stands on the bottom, take those off though, and we'll take the tree for no charge. You can combine that with your neighbors also. And if you're a Recology customer, then you can call them at 464-4181 to arrange for collection. And there's a flyer attached, but this is something we do every year in partnership with Hambro WSG and Recology.
Director Ward, do those trees have to be a certain height?
We do have a maximum length of 6 feet, so if it's longer than 6 feet, we do ask that you cut it in smaller.
Perfect, thank you.
Good question. Looking at the transfer station, thanks to Kira for being acting director when we implemented those rate changes where we were rounding down to the nearest nickel to make sure that we're not running out of pennies. That had a few hiccups and so was a stressful time, but she dealt with all of those challenges very well. I'd also like to acknowledge Brent Van Warmer has been reassigned to be operations manager at the Del Norte County Transfer Station. And since its arrival in this position, both staff and several customers have noticed improved operations, including the construction of wooden bins to receive fluorescent bulbs. And we used to receive those in a metal culvert. So he's just making lots of different changes and the facility looks good and we really appreciate that change. Looking at the landfill and the inspection reports, the Department of Environmental Health through the county serves as the local enforcement agent for Cal Recycle. And so they inspect our facilities, both the landfill and the transfer station, and make sure that we're meeting all of our permit obligations. So I'm happy to say that those inspection reports indicate no areas of violation or even areas of concern. And it's That is an ongoing challenge during the winter months because the severe winter storms and the sandy soils out at the landfill regularly cause erosion issues that need to be attended to. So it's not uncommon at all during the winter months that we have either areas of concern or even notices of violation due to those erosion events. And that we don't have any is a testimony to the good work of our staff. Regarding finances and personnel, I just want to let the board know we are challenged to have phone service that provides our staff texting and occasional voice support so that they can contact the office as needed. And the reception's just not very good in those areas. And so we have to pay a premium for a phone that accesses a satellite network but is not actually a satellite phone. This is a little bit more expensive, but the net result is, I just want to let you know, we are having payment challenges. And so the last couple months, we've actually had those services cut off, and then we had to reestablish the services and pay a late fee. And that has to do with the billing cycles of T-Mobile and how quickly we're able to process claims through the county's ERP system. So we're trying to adapt to that, but bottom line is this is a necessary service, and it's a little bit more expensive than you might expect a typical phone service to be, and we're trying to work out the details. Continuing on, just mentioning other stuff that isn't elsewhere in the agenda. At the beginning of next month, I will be going down to Sacramento to speak on behalf of the California Product Stewardship Council on a workshop on chemical processing for materials recovery. So that concludes the director's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I can move on to the financial.
Thank you, Director Ward. Do we have any questions from the commission?
Yeah, you mentioned the delay in the ERP system. I know last meeting I was at, we talked about the stipends or whatever to work through that struggle. Has it improved at all? Is it still a headache? Is the new system on for you guys? How's that going?
We're working with it, but in general, at this point, the ERP system does not allow us a fast enough turnaround with the way that the billing works from T-Mobile. So we're trying to work out the details, but at this point, it looks like the most reasonable way to make sure that we don't have interrupted service is to pay a little bit in advance, which we try to avoid doing, but better than having the phone service cut off. So we are trying to work out the details, and we are working with the county. But we're also acknowledging we can't insist, no, this bill you need to pay right away, because there's no way to flag it like that. And we understand everybody's challenged with these adaptations. So fine to work with, but we also have a bottom line. We don't want to have interrupted.
Well, we don't.
And Kira's been in the middle of this. Do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Are we anticipating another late fee in the future?
We're going to try to avoid it. We're working on it. It's not completely resolved yet, but we're on our way. Okay. Shall I move on to the financial report, sir?
Sure.
Okay. So handed out is the AR summary that wasn't available at the time that we're releasing this report. Also, usually attached is our cash balance, essentially looking at the balance of our accounts, and since the implementation of the ERP system, we have not seen it. So we don't have it to present to you. Looking at claims approved by director, once again, you'll see the largest payment goes to Hambro WSG for the good services they provide at the Del Norte County Transfer Station. And the second largest payment was payment to the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council for the services they're providing under the community organizing grant. Moving on to looking at how we did in December, you can see that we brought in about $140,000, 143. So that is ahead. That's a little bit behind the budget per month, but the winter months tend to be slower. So if you look at item 2.5, you'll see that at this point in time, our fees at the transfer station are $31,000 ahead of budget, and our franchise fees are $15,000 ahead of budget. So at this point in time, halfway through the fiscal year, we're $46,865 ahead of budget. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? So is that everything from you?
That's all the financial reports, and we can move on to item 4.1 when you're
Okay, sounds good.
ready. Okay. So this is price proposals from DDR Cleaning and Hauling, and they're our cleanup contractor. Dave Mason runs this organization, but we work with him on cleanups through the Forest Service grant. And in this case, we're looking at how can we improve the security at the Del Norte County Transfer Station. We've had discussions in closed sessions previously about this, but because we're talking about additional fencing options, that the closed session didn't seem necessary in this case. But we have been in communication with the Del Norte County Planning Department, and at this point, we're not entirely clear on the level of permitting that will be necessary, if any. So we're going to do a site walkthrough on Friday to see if any permit requirements are present. We are within the coastal zone, and while our contractor says he thinks that this can be done without permitting, it's absolutely the call of the planning department. We're happy to work with them. In general, though, these blocks are viewed as temporary installations because they can be placed and removed with the right equipment in a single day. And all that's necessary is just getting a flat surface. So typically, and we're going to stack them 2 layers high. So we're not going to have them any higher than 4 feet. But we figured the stacked blocks would allow the wildlife and pedestrians to walk through there if they're motivated. But it won't really allow for any vehicular access, which is what we're trying to shut down. So this back area of the property, and that's in your packet, you'll see there's a map there. But we have the Del Norte County Transfer Station, which most people are familiar with. And then we have a property that is owned by the authority between the transfer station and Benson Street. And what's been happening is that people have been accessing that property, camping on that property, cutting wood down from that property, when we'd like to see those things stop. And so one of the ways that we think that might be most effective is to stop the ability for people to roll shopping carts or move any kind of vehicles across that area. So this is what we're looking to do, but we won't begin it until we have permits to do so. But what we're looking for today is approval from the board to, once we have permits in place, to contract with DDR Cleaning and Hauling to place these blocks after purchase.
What's on the backside on the Benson Street is what's going to prevent from
There's
coming out on that
it's a
side.
large vegetated berm with a fence, and so the fence on Benson Street is intact, and that berm is still intact. So we don't see that as a drive path, but these other areas are just flat.
Okay.
Now, are these, I'm new to the party here, so are these K-rails? This is what you put
They're
at the end?
similar to K-rails, but they're not K-rails. They're more like cement blocks with a groove.
They're almost like Legos.
Okay,
They're a lot like Legos.
okay. Did you guys go out for an RFP on this, or do we just, since you have an existing working relationship with DDR, you chose them?
Well, this was just an existing working relationship with DDR looking for a price. Yes,
Okay, because it's $53,000, and
that's correct.
is there a limit, a cap of where you need to go out for an RFP to see if we couldn't have? on this-
Typically, that's $75,000 plus. Our legal counsel is on the line. He might be able to offer on that, but
Okay,
I also was operating under the perspective that the board wanted to see this happen quickly, based on our previous discussion. So I was trying
and
to,
again, I wasn't part of those discussions, so I apologize for that. It's an awful lot of money that when we start spending that type of money, I want to make sure that we did our research and found the best possible price to get this done, so. Thank you.
And what's the reasoning behind the blocks versus say a fence with?
the
barbed wire.
fences that we have been defeated repeatedly. They're pretty easily defeated with wire cutters, bolt cutters, etc. And that's just been an ongoing challenge. And the places where we're looking to place these blocks are not visible on any of the cameras, not regularly patrolled. And so there's for instance, when we first built the transfer station in 2005, there were fences in these locations where we're looking to place those blocks. Those fences not only have been cut, but have been entirely removed, including the poles. So those are not impediment to the placement of the blocks, and it doesn't make me feel that replacement of that fence would be an effective deterrent.
And I hate even asking because I think it's stupid. We have to worry about it. But since they are going to be double stacked, I know they're only, I think 3 foot tall or 2 foot tall a piece.
Yes.
Is there any liabilities if someone's trying to climb over, pulling them over, because you know they're going to try, if someone gets injured and one of these blocks topples over onto someone?
I'm not aware. That's an excellent question that's worth investigation. I'm not aware of a liability, nor the ability you would need equipment to move these
Oh, you'd be
blocks.
amazed what they can do with block and pull these. And I mean, we put the K-rails and they chiseled them in half and cut them in half. So they get pretty creative out there. I just didn't know if they were going to be secured down to the ground at all. And you just never know.
At this point, I don't think there was any plan to secure them to the ground because they are intended to be temporary. So the idea is that they're placed, they have the groove on top, the other one fits on top of them. They'll be alternated, somewhat like stacking bricks. So there will be gaps between them, both below and above, but not a continuous gap, if that makes any sense. So there won't be a place where you can walk your bike through the gaps. That isn't going to be there.
I
But
just know
there's going to
that-
be space where a raccoon could go through, or a deer could jump over it, or an elk could jump over it.
I just know they have picking hooks on the top of them, a rebar picking hook that could probably, grab a hold of and winched over. And
They're 3,500 pounds each, so that would be a really strong person. But it's still possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. But
yeah, just something to think about. I guess. I'll
I
throw it out
really
there.
appreciate the questions, and we'll investigate those as we proceed.
Does our attorney on Zoom with us have anything for us on this?
Very briefly, thank you, Commissioners. Ruben Cruz, legal counsel for the authority. On the first issue of whether or not it needs to go out to an RFP or a bid, that since these are, as Director Ward has indicated, are temporary, they're not a public work as the law has indicated as being such. So that would really just depend upon whether or not the authority has adopted any internal policies or policies specific to the authority as to when certain types of projects should be let out to a bid process. And I would defer to you and to the directors whether or not any such policies exist in this situation. As far as a liability issue, that would require some additional research on our part. There would certainly be immunities that would be in place, and there may also be, we may also explore the ability of putting up some signage and whatnot to ensure that people don't try to climb on them and so forth. But we would certainly explore that more as we move forward.
Right. And so can you just kind of explain to me why we're cordoning this off? Are we keeping people from gaining access to the rest of the authority through here? What's the rationale, just for the public?
People have been it's clear from looking at the property that people have been actively driving across that on a regular basis. There are drive paths. When there are drive paths, that increases all of the other problems, whether it's encampment or deforestation or access to the property after hours. All of those problems are aggravated by people being able to drive their vehicles into an area immediately adjacent to the transfer station property. So we feel that if we are able to stop that, that will stop a lot of the access that people have had or been using to do the damage that has been done at the transfer.
Okay.
And this is, to be fair, this is also part of a larger package of things that we're exploring. The first, perimeter control is part of it, then additional security measures, which we might discuss at future meetings and closed sessions. Because we have to go through these permitting hoops, it would not surprise me if we're not able to execute this before the next meeting, and I would come with an update. If you gave us approval to do as we're asking, then there's the chance that we might start the installation if the permitting all goes well, but I honestly don't know. And I'm kind of expecting that we won't be at the point of installation by the time.
Where was the funding for this come from?
Well, the budget transfer that you've already approved, we thankfully this agency is now in the black. We've been in the red for many years because we went into debt to purchase the property where the transfer station is, to build the transfer station building, and to follow through on our responsibilities with respect to the landfill. We're now finally in the black, and we have placed extra monies in the property line. And because of the ERP system, I'm not exactly sure where some of our budget lines are, but because we haven't had another purpose for that property line, I've transferred funds from that to this. So we'll be fine.
All right. Any further questions from the commission? With that, we'll open up public comment. Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 53,000 up to not to exceed $53,735 for the wall.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please poll the vote.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Starkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Naffa,
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to item 5.1, which is discussion and possible action regarding community recycling drop-off bins in Smith River.
And Chandra Ordway of Recology, a report on this.
After I broke it, I was asked to do quarterly reports on what's going on in Smith River ever since the move from the Smith River Post Office to across the street from the Water District. And so right now we are in a gated area. It does get locked. It's only open from 8 to 5. But we are still having problems with contamination. There's a small PowerPoint, it's pretty quick, that shows you some of the pictures that we've taken since it has moved to the new place. And so, oh, sorry. Okay. So there's some of the things that we are seeing in the box there. A lot of them are on the right over there is some chicken, raw food. We've got a lot of pea pads that happen. A lot of those go in there. Just a lot of contaminants. In the second slide here, we have some plastic, as you can see, plastic wrap, more pea pads. And these are in different months. I took just a couple pictures from each month that we had going on. Again, pea pads, food, just a lot of stuff. So having said all that, we have had to take these loads from the Smith River Post Office or the Smith River site to the transfer station rather than dumping it at Recology so that we can sort it and send it out to be recycled. We have had to, since, let's see, December 9th, December 16th, December 31st, and then January 6th. So each week we've had to take it to the transfer station and pay for that because it's been contaminated.
Isn't this somewhat common? Because even along Pebble Beach, I've talked with John about this, is that, you know, we have the recycling and then the regular trash. Oftentimes the recycling has to go to the regular trash
Correct.
because people are not, you know, putting in the right thing. So is this common? Is this something in Smith River that is exasperated even more? I mean,
In my opinion, yes. It is. And it's, you know, we try our best. You know, we don't want to take it away from the community. It's good for the community, but not when they're going to do what they're doing. So, yeah.
So, any other questions?
When it moved to the new location, was it a drop off in this, or has it still just been consistent?
Dawn, you think that's more of a, sorry.
No, that's fine. Hello, John Perry, General Manager of Ecology. In our opinion, the drop-off has been outside of the bin. Since we've moved it, we have less larger items and less garbage just being bagged and dropped. Inside, it hasn't changed much. So nobody's leaving debris around the bin. It's not an eyesore. It's not a continuous problem that way with bulky items. It's just been what's going inside. So
So now we're at the point where there's more garbage in there. It's not worth recycling, and it's just an added expense.
yeah, it's contaminating the whole load.
Gotcha.
And then, the examples that she mentioned about the ones going to the transfer station, if you look at the tonnage, it's not a lot of tonnage. It's really small. But for instance, we had one load that went, and then they did a study down at our other facility, and they said how much, they told us what the percentage was. We were 33% contaminated for that load. And then we looked at the tonnage that they pulled out. It was exactly the same as one of our tickets that we took straight there. So it's like one load can contaminate the whole 53-foot load, trailer. So that's kind of puts it in perspective. So any other questions?
What's the possible action that we're looking at? Or
Well, we're just bringing it to the board as of right now. They've been asking us to report this. I don't think it's up to us to say, it's time to pull it. I think that's a decision for everybody here. I think the biggest problem is it's not a manned transfer station. We don't have the same problem at Gasky. We don't have the same problem at Klamath Falls. Is it perfect? No, we don't have the same problem. We do have problems here at the local Crescent City one once in a while. I mean, it's not perfect anywhere. But when there are people around, I'd say Gasky and Klamath Falls, Klamath, it's better. But then, here at Crescent City, it's a little ways away from eyeballs and people are sneaky. And so things still happen and they dispose garbage instead of going across and paying the fee or paying ecology. So, but like I said, I'll leave that up to you guys.
Okay.
Anything else?
I guess my next question will
Sure.
be for Director Ward.
Okay.
So thank you for.
Well,
Yes.
So in other areas where Recology is, are there any possible suggestions you might have? Meaning like Humboldt County and so on, where maybe we could address it a little differently?
It's really hard to have recycling drop-offs and have them and that's the hardest thing anywhere where you're at. So I mean, I don't have a suggestion because there's nobody there to police it, unfortunately. So there are different situations in every different community. We are unique here, so there's other things that could be done probably to help, but that's a much larger conversation. Not for me to say at this time. You're welcome.
And just one more, since I don't sit on this all the
Sure.
time, I don't know. Is this a cost when it goes to disposal, the cost that you guys have to eat, or does it
Correct.
get passed on?
No, it's ours. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have any recommendations on this, Director Ward?
We've discussed this at board level several times, and I believe if the board wants to act on this, then probably the best way forward would be to have a subcommittee to explore the options and discuss the repercussions of each of those options. To address Mr. Naffa's question, in many communities, the standard is universal collection, meaning that if you live in the community, you have to sign up for garbage service one way or another. That's not what we have in our. And so without that, it is challenging because you want to have recycling programs available to everybody, whether they sign up for garbage service or not. But the part of that is in the Smith River area, the recycling bin is pretty much the only public disposal facility outside of the trash cans in front of the convenience stores. And so it has been dumped on, and putting it behind a fence and having it open during daylight hours has reduced the obvious dumping, but the contamination remains a concern. And there's ways that one could deal with it, but probably the net result is there would be a reduction in overall service available to community. And the challenge of it is exactly looking at the person who lives in Smith River and is trying to use those recycling bins correctly, and they're going during daylight hours and they're putting their recycling in there, and the other person who lives down a different street and they're going there and they're dumping and they're putting all of their household material in that recycling bin, and then none of it gets recycled. And so that's kind of frustrating to the person who's trying to recycle, and for the person who's improperly using it, they think they're getting away with it. So this is the current level of challenge, but I'd be happy to explore more of those options with the board members, but it would take some time and a discussion. So if the board is interested in appointing an ad hoc, I'd be happy to go through that process.
I think that's a sound solution at this point. I think that it needs to be investigated further because we have to be good partners with Recology too. So I think it's time to address that, even though I don't sit on this board.
I guess I'm kind of the opposite. What's the point of the ad hoc committee? I mean, we know it's not functioning. What other options would be there? to
It
explore?
would be to explore each of those options in detail, and everything from a temporary cutoff of the service with focused signage saying this is the situation we're facing, these are the challenges, we do it this way or we don't do it. There's a variety of different ways one can approach the outreach. But bottom line is we would have to do some kind of shake up the program, which would undoubtedly be inconvenient for some. And it's a balance of, is that shake up worth the program improvements you're looking for or not?
Yeah, I had, when I was on the board before, we had considered a transfer station there. And when I got back again this time around, when I had my conversation with Ted, I asked him that question. So certainly that would be something to consider.
Yeah,
And that would be one of the issues that we would discuss. But the short of it is this. For the northern transfer station, were it to be developed, one, it would lose money. This much is certain because we can't afford to charge the amount that it would cost to run a facility. Two, it would be open at most 2 days a week. And so in the net result is it wouldn't necessarily address this problem. While it may add some convenience and add a level of service and add a level of expense, would it actually address the contamination and the recyclables question? That is worth discussing. And I'm not sure the answer is yes.
real quick question along the same lines as what you're talking about. Do the Klamath and the Gasky transfer stations yield profit, or
They both lose money.
they lose money?
Uh,
So it would be the same in Smith
exactly.
River. Okay. I mean, it had been our hope for a long time there that we would have a manned transfer station in Smith River, and I think it would largely fix the issue of dumping at that location. But unfortunately, we can't find a place to put it
And
that's
we
economical.
that's part of what could be discussed at the ad hoc level about, how do we pursue this? But again, I think it would be worth the board's time and the ad hoc's time to flesh out those options before bringing them back to the board for further discussion.
Okay. Well, could you put it on the next agenda to discuss the potential of creating an ad hoc,
Sure, I'd be happy to do that.
and we can further flesh this out?
I'm sorry, I just have a hard time with the way things move quickly, speed wise, I guess. So in the meantime, is Recology just pay for the extra waste? Is that how it works? Is that normal? Is that standard practice?
That's yes.
Because this could be 6 months down the road of doing ad hocs and meetings and next
Well,
agendas and
And to be
Is that-
honest, there isn't an easy solution, and everything is going to take time, especially when you're talking about outreach to people to change their behavior. That's not a quick process.
And we used to have a recycling bin in Fort Dick as well, and we
We still have the one
we
in
do
Fort
still
Dick.
have
We
it. That
used to
has-
have two in Smith River.
Oh, it's still
We're
there.
down to one. We used to have a location at the Smith River Post Office and another one at the former Ship Ashore. And they've been consolidated into a single fenced location across from the Community Services District building.
Have we been having the same issues in Fort Dick? Okay, but they have cameras there. Okay. Well, that'd be something to talk about in the ad hoc. Okay.
And I also think in working with the tribes out there, Tolowa is a big population out in the Smith River area. So perhaps a partnership with them as well. So I do hope that you'll form some sort of ad hoc so that we can minimize the cost that it's.
That has been explored.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it's not worked out. Anyway, we will move on if everyone's okay with that. Okay. We will have further discussions on this at a future date. Moving to our next agenda item, discussion possible action regarding guiding principles for legislative advocacy.
So we do this every year, and essentially in this case, it hasn't changed. So this is a standard list of policies that the board has adopted over the years. And what this enables staff to do is if there is a bill that's quickly moving through the committee process and is covered by one of these policies, it allows staff to engage between board meetings, which can be helpful for timely advocacy. So there haven't been any changes to this. So this is the same as the board last adopted last year. So staff recommend adopting the guiding principles for legislative advocacy. And I'd be happy to talk about any of the details on these policies if there is interest.
Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? Nope. Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion then.
So I guess basically the motion we want is to adopt the existing guiding principles for legislative advocacy. Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing no public comment, we will bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Naffa,
Yes.
Commissioner Starkey.
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on, we have item 6.2, discussion possible continuation of support position for SB 501, which was brought forward by, I believe it was Senator Allen.
Yes, the board has already endorsed SB 701, but this is what's called a gut and amend, meaning they took out all of the innards of the previous bill and put in new language. And it is now, it used to be an extended producer responsibility bill for all household hazardous waste, but now it is just focused on medium format batteries, which are essentially the rechargeable batteries one finds in scooters and electric bikes. And right now they're kind of following in the gap between our battery programs. So staff are recommending that we continue to support SB 501 as an extended producer responsibility bill for medium format batteries.
Do we have any questions or comments on this? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion for the continuation of support of position SB 501.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we will bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Starkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Naffa,
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes, thank you. All right, moving on to item 6.3, discussion and possible action regarding authorization to purchase a Tacoma I-Force Max pickup based on the lowest bid received.
Thank you. So we did receive direction from the board to purchase a vehicle at the last meeting. And unfortunately, the vehicle we were directed to purchase was no longer available at the time that we were directed to do. So it was a couple used vehicles, and essentially they were sold by the time that we contacted the vendor again. So, but neither of those vehicles actually met our bid specs. And so the vehicle that did meet the bid specs is the one that we're recommending now. So that's a 2025 Toyota Tacoma I-Force Max 2.4 liter 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain 4-wheel drive 5-foot bed double cab 7532G from Mid-City Toyota for $52,193. Also, we're looking for direction to continue installation of specified equipment, including a hydraulic liftgate, bed cover, winch, and range booster and running boards, addressing the full range of vehicle functions for use by authority staff for agency needs. We did go out to bid asking for all of those things, and none of the bids came back with all of those items. So this was the most responsive bid that we received.
That's quite the detailed vehicle. What's its purpose?
We have one vehicle for the agency, and we use this vehicle for accessing the landfill property to do maintenance out there, for accessing the Klamath transfer station, the Gasky transfer station, for hauling materials, for moving materials back and forth between public events and where we are, for supporting cleanup activities. All of those things we use this one vehicle for. And we are replacing the vehicle we've been using since the early 2000s, which is a 1996 Toyota 4Runner. And that is absolutely reaching the end of its useful life, to the point now that we need to roll down the window to open up the door. But you don't need those details.
Yeah. And is there a dedicated line item for vehicle replacement?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there a line item in the budget for vehicle
Yeah,
replacement?
yes, we budgeted this for this year, and I budgeted 75,000. So we should have enough to both purchase the vehicle and to get that additional equipment.
Okay.
It was a little sour for me because I know that last meeting we discussed this and wanted the savings of about $10,000. And now we're back with this one that we didn't want. But I guess it's what is available at the time, and the need is there. So, do we have any comments or questions from the commission? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the 2025 Toyota Tacoma I-Force Max from Mid-City Toyota for $52,193.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment on this item? Seeing no public comment, we will bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Starkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Naffa,
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes, thank you. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. And we will adjourn to our next scheduled meeting, which will be Tuesday, February 24th, right here at 4 o'clock.
Thank you all.